good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I want to present again a second episode where I talk about some of my favorite albums and inspirations to my music, my mixtape, everything like that. Last time I briefly touched on Grimes, and the album specifically I want to talk about is Anthropocene. My favorite artwork, personally. She released like this artwork originally before she got the final one, and then there's the final one as well. I think this one itself is much more reflective of the album, and you'll definitely find a lot of references to demos and everything like that. I was actually looking through the artwork, like the full one, because there's a poster that comes with it. But there's a lot of references on this artwork that pertain to the album demos and everything like that. So, I mean, you'll find Black Swan just there, and that is a reference to the Delete Forever demo, Black Swan Blues. There was also, I think, on the different artwork, Shall I Compare Thee? Which only exists as like a 48-second demo or something like that on YouTube. I listened to it in 2021 when I was just getting it into Grimes, and it had come out a year prior. I think I was actually listening to it on its first year anniversary, and I'd never listened to Grimes before. So I was always very curious about her, obviously knowing her from Poppy and Elon Musk and everything like that. And I really wanted to get into her sooner or later, and suffice to say, like, I feel like her discography itself is very, very eccentric, eclectic, diverse, variable for sure. But I think, like, Anthropocene itself and, like, her major label releases like Visions, Art Angels, Anthropocene, the standout records for sure. And specifically with Anthropocene, what inspired me was like the heaviness of how it sounds, melancholia that surrounds the album. The visuals themselves from the music videos and everything like that is something that I connected with heavily when it came to Grimes and like the Anthropocene album. But I also really wanted to be able to not entirely replicate, but how could I interpret something like this into my own music, because it is something that I've always wanted to do. And I feel like Grimes did it perfectly on this album, where she also created soundscapes of like washed, reverberated synths, and especially on tracks like So Heavy and Dark Side, it is definitely like very influential itself. I mean, 4 AM was an incredible track for it to be featured on Cyberpunk. Like, they do go hand in hand. I find like Cyberpunk and this album, like, you could definitely play along to the game while listening to Anthropocene. I'm obsessed with like the concepts of like neo-futurism and post-humanism and dystopia and utopia, and like this imbalance of like human nature and like human existence and our time on the, like, you know, on Earth. The concept behind Anthropocene as well is incredible. Is this album about all these new gods that dominate the world, and the story behind it, and like all these gods of like lust and violence and you know, wrath. I've always been like very, very curious about So Heavy. It is one of my favorite songs on the album. That My Name Is Dark and 4 AM are probably like a top 3 for me. I could probably talk about this album for hours because I've been listening to it like non-stop for 4 years. It is an incredible album, and not just to listen to, but like to have as an ambience and an atmosphere for wherever you are. I do wish I could listen to it again for the first time because it is great. Thank you so much for watching. I mean, next time where I pick out whatever random album I want to talk about.